Okay, here we're taking a look at the current framework, and we had already discussed a few things. We discussed how the objective is decision usefulness to the interested users. We discussed these various, we've got fundamental characteristics, enhancing characteristics, and cost constraints. So this next part of the video is going to go through these characteristics. So the fundamental characteristics primarily include relevance and sometimes called reliability in the old framework, or faithful representation. These are the two primary qualities that make accounting information useful for decision making. So we're going to take a look at what makes up relevance and what makes up reliability. So relevance is making a difference in a decision. So if you were going to invest in a company and they had purchased a wastebasket for $5, if that had accidentally, that transaction had accidentally been left out of the financial statements, would that make a difference in whether or not you're going to invest in General Motors? Now, if the purchase of an entire factory plant had somehow been left off, that might make a difference in your decision. And so that would be something that's relevant, okay? Something that's making a difference. That wastebasket, whether it made it into the financial statements or not, is not relevant enough. It's not material enough. So we wouldn't have to worry about it. So we're looking at the things that make a difference when we're looking at relevance. So what kinds of things can make a difference to an investor or creditor? Well, we have the predictive value, the confirmatory value, and materiality. Materiality, are the numbers significant and relevant? Is there a omission or error significant enough to alter the decision? So that one was one we gave an example of with the wastebasket. Okay? Now, predictive value, can the numbers help investors and creditors predict the numbers of the future? If I'm going to invest in General Motors today, it's because I want the stock price to go up so that I can sell it in the future. I can sell those shares in the future and make money. Or I want to get dividends paid to me in the future. I am giving my money right now today to General Motors with the idea that in the future I'm going to make some profit in some form or fashion. And so I need to be able to predict. I need to be able to look at the financial statements and predict what's going to happen in the future so that I can help to come to some understanding. Now, obviously, there's no glass ball that's going to tell us exactly what it is. But if I can look over the last 5 years of General Motors, that should help me somewhat predict the future. The confirmatory value is, can the numbers confirm or correct any prior expectations of investors and creditors? So last year, investors and creditors thought that GM values would go up. Can the numbers now on the financial statements show me that they did go up, or that they didn't, or why they didn't, if they didn't and they were expected to, etc. For faithful representation, we're looking at, do the numbers on the financial statements accurately depict the economic events that they're showing us? Okay, so if we say that we have, $100,000 of computer equipment, does that accurately depict that or not? Okay, so what is it, what kind of things are we looking for to get a faithful representation? Well, number one is completeness. Are all the significant transactions and economic events that happened included on these financial statements? Is there a full disclosure? Sometimes information doesn't make it onto a financial statement just because of the way that we do accounting, but it's still important, it's still useful information, and so we're required to put a full disclosure of that information into the notes to the financial statements. So even if it's something that didn't make it onto the financial statement itself, so what if GM is in a lawsuit, okay? Even though the lawsuit hasn't ended, so we don't know if GM is going to win or lose the lawsuit. If you were getting ready to invest in GM, wouldn't you be interested in knowing about that lawsuit? So of course you are. So there are, are things that are going to be in those notes to the financial statements that aren't necessarily on the financial statements themselves. Neutrality. Are the numbers neutral? Are they free from bias? They shouldn't be slanted towards a particular viewpoint, emphasized or manipulated. Okay? They should be free from error. That's errors made by mistakes and errors made on purpose, which is fraud. There shouldn't be any errors. Okay, so that was the fundamental characteristics, and now we're taking a look at the next level down. That's the enhancing characteristics. And so the first one of this is called comparability and consistency, and these are fairly similar. Comparability means we can compare one company to another company, and they've both had to follow GAAP. So they're both doing their accounting in a similar enough fashion that allows you to compare those two companies. Consistency is where you're comparing one company, but you're comparing the past to the present. Like you're looking at the last 5 years of GM. You want to know that they did their accounting basically the same over those last 5 years, so that you can compare the numbers from 5 years ago and as they've come up through until now, and know that you're comparing apples to apples, that they applied GAAP in the same way consistently throughout time. The other three enhancing characteristics involve verifiability, timeliness, and understandability. So verifiability are the numbers verifiable with documentation? Can a second accountant, go and find the same documents, find the same economic events, come up with the same numbers that the first set came up with? Can we verify the numbers that are on the financial statements? Timeliness. Have the numbers been reported to interested users in a timely enough fashion to help them make decisions? Okay, if I don't find out about the most recent financial statement, year-ending financial statements, I don't find out about those till 6 months later, well, it doesn't do me as much good. And of course, in today's world where we have instant information about stuff, people are very, very even more pressured to come up with this timely information. unfortunately, this is a difficulty for accountants because it takes a while for the CPAs to go through everything, count the inventory, whatever they need to do to be able to get those audited financial statements into the hands of the interested users. And generally, we're talking at least a couple of months. Understandability. There is, again, an underlying assumption that the interested users have at least 1 year of accounting courses. So they have a real basic level, okay? And we have already discussed that. Now, this here is the third level called the recognition and measurement concepts that were part of the previous framework, but these are still mentioned and they're still part of FASB and how they do standards, and some of these are buried within other things, such as like the materiality, that just got moved into something else, etc. Some of these other things are still considered, these assumptions are still considered assumptions. They're just not put on the conceptual framework in their own spot. But we still need to understand those assumptions that are in place before you apply GAAP to a particular company or situation. These are principles that accounting works by, and these are various things that can constrain or withhold us from being able to apply GAAP in a certain situation. And like I say, materiality was moved out of that, so we'll look at these other three.